Brenden Boudreau joins us right now to talk about the latest Great Lakes gun rights. Appreciate you being here with us today, Brenden. How are you?
Good morning, Justin. I'm doing well. How are you?
I know you guys are fighting because they've got a few. We've already heard about this, but they've got a few bills that they want to jam through. In fact, they've had these on the back burner, like sitting around waiting to put these out, and they just timing's perfect. Never let a good crisis go to waste, and then yet here we are. They're putting them out, and the Democrats have control in Lansing right now. So folks are concerned about this. You're not taking it laying down. What are you guys doing?
No, absolutely not. And we've been working hard for the last week, and I wish that we didn't have to work it this hard. It's sad that the Democrats couldn't wait even but an hour for the police to report what was actually happening at 11
Mm-hmm.
o'clock Monday night before they started calling for gun control. They immediately started calling for gun control. They politicized this tragedy. Before we even knew how many victims there were, they were already calling for gun control, and they didn't even know what kind of gun control they wanted. They just wanted any gun control now. And of course, as we saw, they had the three bills preloaded that Governor Whitmer had requested. And of course, as we're looking at this situation, these bills had nothing to do with this situation, and it
Mm-hmm.
just shows you how premeditated and how pre-calculated it was for them to have these bills preloaded, ready to go. And of course they reinvent history and say, well, we were planning on introducing these in April, but this issue forced our hand. No, sadly it's all too predictable that gun control advocates and Democrats wait for a tragedy to come before they start pushing these radical proposals, because they want to use the advantage of when the emotions are high and try to force everyone into supporting their radical agenda. But we're not taking a sitting down. We're not going to lay down while they trample all over our rights. And we're getting gun rights activists and just good law-abiding Michiganders involved to say, no, slow down the train. This is unconstitutional what you're trying to do, and you're going to hear from us on this.
To me, it's absolutely adds insult to injury, and makes it even worse what these folks are going through right now when it comes to the families involved in this horrific attack. Now that they have to immediately, like, no time to grieve, they have to immediately, be drugged through the mud. And politics as usual when it comes to these folks in Lansing, Whitmer particularly. But we see that none of their progressive politics worked in the beginning, but they might actually be responsible for what happened there. And now they want more laws to make more average, everyday folks in Michigan susceptible to this, vulnerable to these attacks, unable to protect themselves, is what it appears. What are the three laws that they want, particularly that they're pushing?
Yeah, well, we can first talk about the laws that this shooter violated on his way to commit this crime. Of course, Michigan State buildings campus is a gun-free zone, so we're talking about the laws that are already on the books that failed. But yeah, now they're pushing for universal background checks on long guns, which Michigan already has universal background checks on handguns. So again, the shooter in at Michigan State used a handgun. So why are we pushing for universal background checks on long guns? It's politically advantageous for them to do so. And these bills would make it illegal for you to loan a shotgun to a close family member or friend to go hunting with. It would
That's
also create basically universal gun registration where the government has a record of every firearm that you own.
This is
That,
troubling to a lot of people. That particular part? I mean, there's some things that are inconvenient, just downright crazy, but this part right here is I think a lot of folks find dangerous. Why is that such a big problem?
Yeah, well, what we've seen over year after year and throughout history is that when, first of all, how much can you trust government databases? Government databases are not secure and they usually have bad information in them, and then they can
Mhm.
be used by bad political actors who want to use it for, oh, I don't know, gun confiscation.
Mm.
And that's the thing, is they're pushing for universal background checks and they're pushing for red flag gun confiscation laws, which would allow your guns, your lawfully owned guns, to be seized from you without you committing any crime, with a very low threshold of evidence, without any due process. You can have your guns taken away, but with a court order where you don't even get to face your accuser. So these two issues work in tandem with one another. They need to go for universal background checks because that's how they want to get a record of every gun to make sure they get every single one of them. And in the meantime, they're trampling over half of the Bill of Rights.
You guys have a solution, or at least a way you're fighting back Great Lakes gun rights. Folks, Brenden Boudreau's with us right now. What are you guys announcing? What are you looking for help with here?
Yeah, right now we released a press release yesterday, and we're currently working to gather all the resources needed to prepare possible recalls for any lawmakers, Democrat or Republican, who vote for this anti-gun agenda. You know, Michigan law allows voters and to recall their lawmakers. For state representatives, we want to be able to do it until the summer. For a state senator, we'd have to wait until 2024. But this is a mechanism that allows voters to hold their elected officials accountable without having to wait for the next election cycle. So we've started up our Recall Michigan. You can check it out at recallmichigan.com, and we're making the message clear that if you're going to vote for gun control, you could lose your job over this. And with how slim the majorities the Democrats have in Lansing, they have to ask the question, do we want to lose our majorities over this? And do we want to lose our majorities this summer over this? You know, they're already slim, and they can, they can act cocky and arrogant all they want, but they have a handful of districts that barely were won by their candidates, and those districts could easily swing against them come this summer or 2024. I work for an organization, the National Association for Gun Rights, that helped recall 3 Democrat state senators in Colorado back in 2013 after they passed gun control. So, people can say that this is hard to do, but we have the experience, we know how to do this, and we're willing to do it if we have to.
So what exactly do you want people again to do? To go to recallmichigan.com, is that correct?
Yeah, you go to recallmichigan.com. You can sign up to get on our supporter list, and we'll let you know as these things continue to happen in Lansing, and as we get closer to if they go ahead and ram through their agenda, we'll let you know when we're looking to start a recall initiative and ways to get involved. We need as many pro-gun Michiganders involved. This is not going to be cheap. We need as many people involved as possible, and of course, we have to gather signatures, and then we have to actually do the groundwork to lay the groundwork to actually hold these politicians accountable.
Brenden Boudreau, Great Lakes Gun Rights. Appreciate you in the fight for folks here in Michigan and continuing. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you, Justin.
God bless. Back with more in just moments, folks.